I was in gangs when I was younger. I wasn't a bad man. I just went there to mark the register. So you know when things were going wrong, I'll just turn up to say that at least I attended.
I just dropped my app, www.ChisoLifts.com. Online personal training. You got custom meal plans, custom training plans. With the training plans, you got a video showing you how to do all your exercises. You could log in your sets, your reps, the weights you use, and literally every month I changed up your plan. In the description, you got a code BESTU20 at the moment. You can use that to get a 20% discount for life.
I went to you know the car wash on let me not mention it, and I know the guy there very well. I know the guy very well. So obviously we was talking about the whole issue that's happening with these two countries at the moment, and was cracking joke, and he goes to me that how he goes you black people are very stupid. So we always do racist jokes, me and him. We always raise racist jokes. He goes, you lot are very stupid. Do you know why? But long story short, he said that when you look at the drug game, he said black people are at the bottom of the chain. We're the pebblers. Yeah. We're the face of drugs in this country technically. Yeah. But when you talk about the people who are really
I don't want to mention what.
Who are really making the money.
Nah.
They're not from our community.
The prime example, you know the escrow, was it escrow, the one where they did all the phones?
Yeah.
Can't remember the name, it escapes me. Encro, there we go. When you look at the faces of the people that are at the top,
they're not us.
But yet we are still being seen as we are the faces.
We're the pebblers. We're like at the bottom.
Yeah,
we're at the bottom.
We are the
we're the face of it. And my question now is
what you got to remember is we have the biggest impact to the community that is got the loudest voice when it comes to having an issue. So what happens is we're moaning at the Metropolitan Police and the government and saying, you're not protecting our children, you're not protecting our children. The police go, all right, cool, I'm going to clamp hard down because wait, who are stabbing black kids? Black kids. That's a fact. No one can argue with me about that. Black kids are stabbing black kids, yeah? They're dying.
White kids are stabbing white kids in Scotland too.
Yeah, of course. But what did Scotland do? They saw that it was a social issue and they addressed it. What's happening here is we've got our community loud and proud saying, yo, you need to fix it, taking not much accountability because there are a lot of people that are, and I know a lot of people that are, but they're shouting about it. The government are going, all right, cool, fudge it. The police will go deal with it this way, robustly start stopping more black people, and then we're trying to flip it around and go, well, actually, we're at the bottom of the rung. Why aren't you getting the white guys at the top? It's like, but you guys are moaning about your kids dying, so I'm actually affecting that. It's like, choose one. You can't say, fix my community, stop my kids stabbing people, and then at the same, especially when it's directly linked to drugs, music, and knives. But then when they do start doing it, going, what about the white guy up there that's facilitating all of this? It's like, choose one. Choose a struggle, bro. That's what people say, innit? Choose a struggle. You can't have it all. And then someone else would say to me, well, white people have it all. It's like, no, they don't, man. Stop living in this stupid mindset that everyone else is succeeding because we are being held down. We're not necessarily being held down like that.
Quick question. Would you say there's some members in the force that might be part criminals?
Of course.
The reason why I asked this because I remember in uni days, one of my brothers got nicked, and it was random. They've come into his house and they've kicked off the door.
It's never random, bro.
No. It wasn't for him.
Okay, yeah.
His younger brother was hype.
Yeah.
They've kicked off the door, and they've burst into his house, and because his younger brother was in his room at the time, they've come to nick his younger brother. Then they've just found.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah. But he was like a very low key guy, so you never
assume that he's done that.
You know what I mean? So now, basically, he's gone court here, and I remember when he came back to uni, and we were dying. Basically, they said they only found about 10 grand. They took 50 grand. This is like back in 04.
That most definitely happens.
You got robbed, but he just had to keep his mouth.
But there's nothing you can do about it. You're a criminal yourself.
Nothing you do, because if he spoke about how much he got robbed, he would have put himself in.
Yeah. I think there's bad things everywhere.
Literally, you know what's funny?
Literally because of that, he ended up coming back to uni and lucky enough not going jail. But it was just like, you know what I mean? It was like instantly made us think. There's corrupt people everywhere. There's corrupt people that
there's a page, it's the dismissals page, it's jokes. So me and my boys will sit there and we'll look at it. It tells you everyone that's been dismissed, and you can see why as well. So it'll be like, officer blah 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 got gross misconduct, got dismissed because they stole a sandwich. And these are like real, like this is, I'm giving you examples of what's happened. An officer has changed the price on something else, like Jaffa cakes, for reduced for 10p and bought it. and doing all this stuff. So when you're talking about corruption, that is 100% true, because all you have to do, Freedom of Information Act will allow you to say, can I see all your dismissals for 2000 up until 2022? And it will show you that it's clearly there.
I think it pains a bit more when it's someone who's doing the enforcing.
Of course,
doing it too. I think
of course,
that's the difference.
Of course.
You know, and often you hear people talk about, you know, crime in general and talk about bad seeds, but it's a bit painful when it's the person who's enforcing this that is actually the bad seed.
It's even more wrong. Do you know what I'm saying?
Do you know why the force started in America? It was a region called the Slave Patrol.
I think I've read something about that before.
Yeah. In America, it was originally.
I've read something about that. Because primarily, when slavery finished, they needed other methods to basically
contain black people.
To contain us, basically.
Yeah.
And
all
this stuff, what is it? Like, you're aware of all this stuff. And I keep trying to bring it back because I'm trying to still get what wakes you up every morning.
Yeah,
you know?
What motivates me to, but it's the, I don't know what I can describe it as.
Job satisfaction, you got that?
To an extent, yes. Because I get to work with my really good friends. My team, I'm very lucky that my team is who I work with, they're my boys.
Okay.
Who was the first one you went in? Like, yes, me.
Now, is there actually even progression in your field? Is there progression in your field?
Massively, yeah. It's like, you can do anything you want.
And progression meaning that, obviously in every field, you're going to have a glass ceiling. But I guess you've been there 8-9 years now. Would you say that you progressed up
I've progressed like laterally. So I've gone from being just normally walking down the street, working in Westminster, to going to a response team, so answering 999 calls, to then going to the pickpocket team, to then going to, what else did I do? Well, I'm on gangs, I can't remember what I did before. But to the gangs unit, so that's all lateral. That's all staying as a PC. But if I wanted to be a sergeant, I'm doing my exam next this week, Thursday?
Okay, to be a sergeant?
Yeah, I'm doing my sergeant's exam this week. I think it's, what day is it? Thursday. Yeah.
Does that significantly increase your pay packet?
I wouldn't say significant.
Okay.
But I make
more workload.
Put it this way, no, it's probably less workload. Okay. More responsibility, but less workload, if that makes any sense. But I make more money where I am. Yeah, I can say this. They know how much I make anyway. Yeah, I make more money being a PC than I do being a sergeant. So a PC doing not on my team, no, a sergeant not on my team, I make more money than them.
Okay, so you're technically taking a lesser pay packet.
I have no intention of being a sergeant anytime soon, because
you're just doing it just kind of.
I've got another role, but I'm not going to talk about that now.
Oh, okay.
That I'm moving to.
Would you encourage black males to join the police force?
Yeah.
Even with all the stuff that you've seen within it and outside of it?
Yeah.
And what would you say, and why would you encourage them?
Because to fix the problem, the problems we have in our community can only be fixed by us.
Quick question, what if it became 50-50? Do you think there'll be a problem with that?
50% black people. Would there be a problem? I don't think it will be necessarily a problem. There will be new problems. Do you know what I'm saying? There'll be new people, and I think it'll be really difficult teething time if it was 50% black. But because our culture, people have problems with me. What music I listen to?
What you say?
I've had experiences where I'm sitting in the office. And I was with one of my boys, and the radio was just on. I think it was on one of the reggae. That was one of the reggae ones. So but it wasn't that pirate. It wasn't that pirate one. But you know when they play old school bashment, they may be playing Budger and all them people that aren't necessarily shouldn't be playing in the police station. But I didn't put it there.
Said boom, bye, bye.
Oh, mum must get disciplined again, yo. This guy.
Bro, I didn't say nothing. I didn't say nothing. I didn't say nothing.
Investigation.
I didn't say nothing.
Yeah, you've got dreadlocks and you're playing reggae in the actual. Oh, mate.
They're gonna say, "Raw, Dom's come to work to make jerk chicken, ain't he?"
But and people have walked in and assumed it was me playing it. I'm like, right, no, I just walked in and this was on. You know what I'm saying? So you still have those are the kind of teething problems that you'll have. Like if the more black people you come, the more they bring themselves to work, the more I think it's really good, because it will force the white officers to learn our culture, because we know white culture, we know English culture, because we've been here all our life.
I don't know whether this is, you see, I think it sounds good. It sounds good, but I think, you know, when Obama became president, people thought that, you know, racism was going to end, he was going to change the whole world. You can't change anything, because the powers that be have the say, whether you like it or not. And I know you're saying that you're encouraging black boys to join the police force, or black males, because the change happens within. I always say that fix the home and you fix the area.
Yes,
that's what I always say. So I guess you're doing what you can on the grassroots level to change things, which I guess is important, because I think prevention is better than cure. because I guess the prevention is the police officers. The cure is fixing it at the root. Okay, because I think once you're being arrested, the problem's already there. If not, you wouldn't be arrested unless you're just going to arrest me for the sake of it. Like, I guess when you got stopped that day outside your house or your mum's house, I guess it could have turned really bad if it was me, because you know more of the lingo and the words, which probably made them think, I'm not going to take this guy to the police station.
No. The only reason I didn't get taken to the station is because literally there's nothing to take me to the station for. Do you get me? Because I would have got to custody, and I know what you mean. I know a bit more. Yeah. I would have got to custody, and they would have kicked it out. They would have been like, "Why?" But
custody meaning you would have got to the police station, though, and that's a waste of time. You're now on the system. You're thinking it's just all a waste of time. Do you know what I mean? And I think my biggest thing for a lot of us, I would say, if you've committed crime, then you shouldn't be having conversations about the police, because you're you're committing crimes. Do you know what I mean? So you're breaking the law. I'm talking for people like me. Like, I was in gangs when I was younger. I wasn't a bad man. I just went there to mark the register. So you know when things were going wrong, I'll just turn up to say that at least I attended.
Man was there, innit? Man was there. I was there.
I wasn't the main front runner. I wasn't the.
He was the backup dancer.
Man said I was there. Yeah.
You know you had Nicole Scherzinger. Like, I wasn't Nicole Scherzinger. I was part of the backup dancers. You know, just the.
He did the ad-lib vocal.
Like, I just did a little. Like, I was in the background.
Oh God.
Spin moves.
What annoyed me the most is that the amount of times, I said over 30 certain times, there's nothing to do with you. And I think everyone's experience is different. And I mentioned that you probably haven't had really bad experiences with police as to why maybe you could become a police officer. Because I guess someone like myself, I could never, I'm not saying never.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But I could, it's very unlikely I'm going to be a police officer. Like, I haven't got a criminal record, okay, but the amount of times I was stopped growing up, I can actually say that I've seen incidents where police officers have been rushed on camera or been beaten up, or even times when like they've been hurt really badly. And a part of me is like, yes. And I sit there like, but that police officer didn't do anything to me. And I find it hard sometimes. I've even got to unlearn things and become mature as an adult and be like, okay, no, officer whatever wasn't the person that pulled me over those 30 or 40 times. So I shouldn't be heckling or be happy that something's happened to that individual. However,
trauma, isn't it?
As a group and as a unit, it's hard for me as a black guy who's not even a criminal. Well, I've done things that could have got me arrested. I just ain't been caught, so I don't ever take the moral high ground. Yeah. I've done bad things. Let me not pretend, but I knew when it was time to go home.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. But I sit there and say, you're sort of encouraging guys to join the police force, and I think, what do you feel needs to be done to try and build? Not saying it's your job, but to try and build a relationship between the police force and the black community. And once again, this issues is within all communities. Yeah. So I hate when people white people hate police too. Of course. Most people do.
Yeah,
but I think
because you only meet police on a bad day. You never call the police and it's good.
Do you know what I mean? A good time. So what would you say, not saying you know the answers, what would you say could be done to try and repair the relationship? Because nothing's, within our community, you're not allowed to snitch. Okay, and I'm say someone does something wrong.
You say that.
Yeah,
okay.
But they do obviously. But you're not meant to. Do you know what I mean? So I remember when growing up, and this is mad, is because, as I said, I was never the bad man in the group. But we learned that when you robbed white boys or Indian boys, they went to the police. So we learned that when you rob black boys, they don't go to the police. So what happened was that we, as a plural, started robbing black boys, because we knew that when you rob the black boy, nothing happens. And I sit there and say, how do we repair this stuff in our community when, we have a problem with the police, which means we're not going to come to you if there's an issue, because we don't want to be in this as a snitch, or we want to deal with it ourselves. Now, what do you think needs to be done to build this relationship? Not saying it's going to be done overnight, but between you, who you're a normal guy outside of uniform, you're just a normal guy who wants to do Muay Thai, having a fight, chilling with the lads, you're a normal guy. You probably go out clubbing once in a while, if you do, or you go to bars, whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? So what can be done to build a relationship between your side of life and the general black community? What do you feel needs to be done or could be done?
For me, the Met have their own stance on this, and their stance.
No dance battles, yeah.
The Met have their own stance. I personally don't necessarily agree with it. I feel as though it can only be fixed by us. It can only be fixed by us. We need to change our mindset. So it's in terms of what we're like, the mothers that are facilitating their children that they know are drug dealing, going in and allowing them to go no comment just because they want to protect their son. That's not how you're protecting your son.
Is it just the son they're protecting though? Or is it not? What could happen? So for instance, as you've mentioned, someone who's doing drug dealing, you got to remember that if you're 16, 15 doing drug dealing, you probably got the drugs from someone older.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
And there's going to be repercussions.
Yeah, but you're going to get the repercussions anyway because I got your drugs, bro.
So you're saying ideally,
getting it regardless.
So you're saying ideally that this young boy should kind of give up the information of who this guy is that's giving them the drugs?
Well, it's in their best interest to allow me to help them, but I understand why
do you get my point?
No, I understand why they will be reluctant, because they've either had an experience where they weren't helped, or they don't feel as though they can be helped. But I can. Do you get what I'm saying? I can't necessarily divulge all information on camera, but people that have worked with my team, they understand, actually, I got protected. The guys that we deal with don't get stabbed after. They don't get murdered after. It's not one of them ones where, oh yeah, Dom dealt with this guy, Dave, and then Dave, whatever, he changed his life around, then he's dead.
So like
that don't happen. Do you know what I'm saying?
An episode of Power.
Yeah, that's not happening.
To life.
Because we actually go out to actually protect them. If you need to move your ends, I'll move your ends. Like you're gone. Like Gabriel, if you came and spoke to me Tuesday, or you got nicked on Tuesday, then you spoke to me on Tuesday in the interview, you're not going back home, bro.
So you say,
man, you're gone. You're like, I can't be here. I'm ringing up who I need to ring up. Your mum's been moved.
Gabriel, this
and you could be living. There you go. But do you understand? So the police do actually protect people, but maybe it's not. They're not marketing it well, or do you know what I'm saying? It's not advertised well, or people aren't understanding.
So you say after that, I can't go on Instagram.
But, well, it's up to you after that. I'll advise you not to go on Instagram with your location on, so people come and find you. But do you get what I'm saying? That happens. I've done that. Do you get me? Yeah. I've moved kids the next day and taken them to wherever. Well, not necessarily. My team moved them so you could be living in Brixton, and then by tomorrow you're living in Islington. Tomorrow. Do you know what I'm saying?
Trying to say Brixton people don't go Islington.
No, they do, but the joke is you can say to me, no, I can't go to Islington, bro. Their man will find me. Okay, cool. How about Dagenham and Redbridge? All right, cool. Do you know what I'm saying?
So you're saying that there are things in place then to actually
a whole area of people
to actually help them. So there's actually things in place to help these situations where you actually can house and move people sort of immediately.
Yes. The police are all about safety. Do you know what I'm saying? I know it may not feel that way.
It doesn't feel like that.
And I understand that they may not exercise it properly or do it in the best way, or some don't even do it at all. But the facility actually is there to do for it to happen, and it does get done. I'll tell
you something off camera after.
Yeah. And it does get done. So for me personally, the way that I would to fix our community, we've got to win over the parents who've got loads and loads of trauma from years ago. Do you know what I'm saying? My mum was here. Windrush generation, so my mum has been through it all, so she understands. My mum, I'm luckily been brought up in a family where my mum doesn't hate the police, doesn't necessarily like them, but she would never try and put her on me, her thoughts on me, because I'm lucky. I understand that now. So we have to change the parents' thoughts. Then we have to get through to the kids and understand that they are the change. They need to actually be involved in, well, we're not going to stab people no more. What we're going to do is we're going to resolve our issues a different way. That's a start, just a different way. Because you can't just say, drop the knives and then stop stabbing people. That doesn't work. Do you know what I'm saying? So, do you know what I'm saying? We'll have to facilitate that. Then we have to give them something to do and give them more opportunities within the community.
More music studios, more rappers, more youth clubs, you know. Youth clubs are closed down. That's all the problems are. More youth clubs.
People say the youth clubs are closed down. That's an issue. That is an issue to an extent, but it's not, to me, it's not a major issue.
It's not what's causing the crime.
Yeah, it's not causing the crime. So I had youth clubs when I was younger. People still got.
And what made you? I'm assuming that to be a police officer, you have to have a clean record. I'm assuming. Is that right or wrong?
To an extent.
No? Yeah.
You don't have to have a clean record, no.
But there's certain things that you couldn't have done.
Yeah, if you stab someone, you ain't been a police officer.
Okay.
But if you got stopped for holding drugs or selling drugs, then maybe you might be able to.
Might be. Okay. Yeah. So now with what you're doing in the police force, and you're saying that, for instance, would you say that prior to your upbringing, I'm assuming that you probably wasn't involved in gangs when you was younger. Okay. And why wasn't it appealing to you to hang around with people who committed crime? Why wasn't that appealing to you?
My family won't let me.
We say won't let you as in?
Well, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, if my family members were in gangs, they would not allow me to do so because I had a different upbringing to necessarily them personally. So I had positive influences.
Because this is the thing, is that you've come from Croydon. I don't know.
Put it this way, a lot of the guys that are bad and all madness will know people that I know, and they're saying, no, Dom, you're not doing that. Do you get me? So I was lucky that I had older people to say, nah, he's not doing that. Do you get me? And if I did, they'll be like, they're influential enough to go, nah, don't talk to him. Do you know what I'm saying? To the people, they'll be like, nah, leave him alone. Do you get me? Yeah. So I am lucky I was protected. Okay. I also had a really, really good upbringing, like better than anyone else, like not better than anyone else's, but better than most.
So
I got sent to, prior to going to St. Mary's, I was in the private schools. Do Do you know what I'm saying? I chose to go to St. Mary's.
So what you were saying then is, generally speaking, your upbringing, you wasn't from what they would classify as a marginalised background or impoverished background, in inverted commas.
I was, but I was protected from it. Do you get what I'm saying?
Okay, did you ever lack? So you know the typical things that did you ever lack? So did you have the basics? Like, you know, you had more than one school trouser. You know, you had more than one school shoe. Because I had one plimsoll for everything.
High tech.
I had a plimsoll for PE, plimsoll for weddings.
And I
had the one trouser for weddings, for school.
For me, it was. What I would say is not to talk down on anyone else. Is my mum just worked really, really hard because I only live with my mum. My dad doesn't live with me, so I never had my dad around. So he was in and out, but he never used to live. He was not there. So I was lucky that maybe my mum worked 10 times harder than she did.
Older siblings?
And she got help. Yeah.
Oh, so you got older brothers?
I'm the youngest. Yeah.
Okay.
So and we all went in the private school. They stayed. I left. Do you know what I'm saying? That was our choice. My mum said, "Do you wanna stay in this school? Do you want to go to a different school?" And I was like, "I don't care, I'll go to that school." Do you know what I'm saying? It was, at that time, I just did whatever. But I know how lucky I am.
In regards to when it comes to like stop and search, okay, I know you won't know everything off head, but what would you say are the things that people don't understand about their rights in regards to being? So let's primarily talk to walking on the street. Okay, because there's two forms of stop and search. You've got like the car one, and then you've got obviously, I'm assuming, when you're a pedestrian.
It's relatively the same. Relatively the same.
Okay.
It's the same. You still need grounds.
Okay.
The officers still need to tell you the certain stuff. So they need to tell you who they are, why they're stopping you, where they're from, what they're looking for, why they like the ground, like why they believe that you have it, like because they could have had the information. Someone could have rang me and said, "Yo," could have rang up someone and said, "Yeah, guy in black with green stripe has a knife on him. It looked like it bulging in his left pocket." So a police officer will have to tell. Do you know what I'm saying? The police officer.
No, the way he's reading it, I was reading a bulging. I was just making sure you weren't talking about me, mate.
The police officers have to tell you that. Do you know what I'm saying? And this is what people need to understand. They need to ask for that as well.
He said left pocket. You don't know your right from left.
That's what I was checking to make sure it wasn't this one. He said a knife, just making sure that, you know.
He said left.
He bore man.
And what people don't understand is officers can only search that left pocket.
Okay.
Do you know that, right? They can't go, well, you have if they've been given information that it's in the left pocket, they can only search the left pocket.
So what you're saying basically that we don't know our rights. We don't know our rights.
Wait, officer. Let me my right pocket.
We don't know our rights. There's a lot of stuff that happens. Genuinely, is a bit of misconduct, but because we don't know our rights, we don't even complain about it.
Yeah,
technically,
because you don't have enough information or you haven't educated yourself well.
Should you always comply as a pedestrian?
I would always say yes.
Always. So if I genuinely done nothing,
what people
and you approach me,
what you don't understand. If you make a complaint, complaints are taken very seriously in the Metropolitan Police.
1 second now. What if you said you can only search your left pocket, yeah, and you had recorded and said, "Oh, officer, you can't go into my right," and they go into your right, then they find something. I wouldn't
advise you to say don't go into my right
because that's going to make them be.
And now you've now I can go into your right because I'm saying, well, he's drawn my attention to this. I believe that maybe he has it there, and that the person that rang up was wrong. I can do that too. Don't get twisted. But if an officer comes to the ground saying it's here,
complaints really. Obviously, I know you're not in that department,
bro. I've lost count how many complaints I've had from people from me being too rude to being too. I've had a complaint about being too nice. Being too nice. I didn't reflect the Metropolitan Police in the way that they wanted it to be. He was too nice. He was too polite. I've had complaints like that. They do come through. They are dealt with. Do you know what I'm saying? And I get taken into an office. The sergeant will sit me down and be like, "Dom, this is what's happened. This is what's happened. I'm not going to divulge the conversation, but there's a conversation that happens. I might get disciplined or I might not. Discipline can range from it's lower end discipline for stuff like, oh, you've been too nice. It may be Dom. Do you know what? Just try and sort out how you talk to people. Complain. And if you feel that something is wrong, if it feels wrong, there's nothing stopping you from complaining about it, and it gets investigated. Do you know what I'm saying?
But technically, it's almost like the police investigating the police, though, isn't it? Because I mean, it's not an external body, is it?
No. Yeah, you have the IOPC. Well, are they still called the IOPC?
Yeah. Well, it's technically just investigating yourself.
They are. You would find that a lot of officers don't really like the IOPC because what they do is, I think that's the name, but they are super, super on it. So you complain against me, and no matter how silly it may be, like I could have been in Malta, and you're saying that I did this on this day, and I was in Malta. They will be like, well, no, we need to investigate this further. And it's like, no, he wasn't even in the country. They're like, no, they're on it because they're an external body. They're like just everyday people, and they are proper super on it. So when people need to understand that they proper fight, even lost causes. And it does have a negative effect on police officers, to be honest, and your mental health. So being under investigation is a big deal. Do you get me? I've had it probably about 4, 5, 6 times. I can't remember, I've lost count. And it's stressful. So I would always say to people, you should
always
if
comply.
It feels wrong,
Someone's going to
comply.
Even if you feel that you've done nothing wrong, just take me.
If you've done nothing wrong, just make them explain what the issue is. Let them do their job, and then after you follow up, because there's nothing you can do now. If he said you're detained, bro. You can't go nowhere. Because if you run, now you're in more trouble. If you resist being detained, I can now arrest you.
So basically, irrespective of the frustrations you may have, just literally, if they've pulled you over, just let them do their job.
Let them do their job, and then after proceed. Because what happens is there's nothing you can do at that time. What can you do? If I say, Gabriel, you're detained now for a search for Section 23, Misuse of Drugs Act. I believe that you may have drugs on your person. I'm gonna search you. I'm gonna put you in handcuffs, blah blah, and you kick off. Resisted a search. Now I can arrest you.
So basically, in a sense, you just got to let the police do what they're doing. Basically.
And no one can tell me that I don't know how it feels. I've been arrested already. I've been stopped and searched numerous occasions, and wrongfully. I know we're going to end.
I just find it interesting that you see all this and know all this and still are able to get up and still go into that institution. That's just... you're a strong man. You're mental health is strong. You're a strong man, you know. I can't even lie. You're a strong man. Yeah. You're very strong. Because I don't think I could get up knowing all of this stuff.
There have been days that I've wanted to quit. Yeah. I'm not saying that I'm super, you're saying I'm strong. There's been days I wake up and I'm like, I'm not doing this no more. F this, I'm done with this. And I'm lucky to have people that are like, nah, bro, remember why you're doing it, innit? Do you get me? So you do need your community, you need your coping system, you need people around you to be like, look, remember why, write that shit down. So for swearing, but write it down so you remember. When say when in gym, you gotta write down your goals. So you need to write them down, bro. You need to remind yourself when you're at your lowest, because it is really difficult.
Like this episode, Dom's also starting a podcast for the police that's just going to be tackling all these issues. You're going to see me and Gabriel featuring on that, and more good stuff to come. Stay tuned.